Coming up, a birthday treat fitting of a war hero.
Plus, FBO transparency, an update to the issue we've fought for, and a historic airplane gets a special designation. AOPA Live this week begins in just a moment.
There are many important things to consider before purchasing an aircraft. Let the experts at Aerospace Reports help guide you through the process. We combine expert knowledge with our long-standing commitment to personalized customer service to perfect your transaction. Learn more at aerospacereports.com.
This is AOPA Live This Week with Tom Haynes and Melissa Rudinger.
Most of the time, we're pretty serious here at AOPA. After all, flying is something to be taken seriously. It doesn't suffer well the inattentive or the careless.
But let's face it, most of us put in the long training hours, the proficiency flights, the expense, because flying is also fun. And it doesn't hurt to be reminded of that from time to time. So this week, our lead story is really just about fun flying.
It feels like an adventure when you're in a seaplane. You know, you can go anywhere. Here we go.
Let's go. Oh, this is so cool. This is like, I love this.
All right, I'm gonna let you take control.
Okay.
You've got the controls.
I have controls.
Don't crash me.
It's so weird using my opposite hand.
All right, go ahead and pull the power out. We'll just land straight ahead if we can make it.
Okay. Count all the way up.
Perfect. Looking great. Looking great. That's it. Down the water.
That was so easy.
Yeah, we'll come to a full stop.
Okay.
And we just go ahead and take off. We'll go ahead and get pointed to the wind, go full power, and just hold on to the stick a little bit back, just like you did on step tracking.
Oh my God.
Very nice.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Dude,
Super
my
easy.
mind is blown.
So I'll do a min-radius turn. We'll do it to the left here. We'll just do it next to this thing.
Okay.
The island. Gonna roll into it.
This is epic.
Well, let's pop up a little bit against the stall warning horn.
All right, guys, honestly, I had so much fun. If you haven't flown in the Icon A5, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. These guys are amazing. They're awesome. Thank you, Josh, for the amazing flight. You're a great pilot. I feel so fortunate to have flown with you, so thank you so much.
It's about more than getting your feet wet, apparently.
Apparently it is. You know, the seaplane flying, of course, is always a lot of fun. And I've always heard, like Mark Baker, big seaplane pilot, saying that you never go seaplane flying carrying or wearing anything that's going to be a problem if you get it wet. Because at some point you're going to fall in or occasionally get pushed in.
Good advice from Mark.
But sadly, the price of fun isn't always cheap, and rising prices for the Icon A5 have reduced demand for the innovative little amphib. That has led the company to slash its workforce by 40%. The A5 price has crept up to some $389,000, and some of the folks who've put deposits on the aircraft are deciding to instead spend their bucks elsewhere. A company spokesman said they're confident in Icon's future and continued growth, and they'll scale production and staff as needed to meet that projected growth.
Innovate or die is the game in integrated navigation applications. This week, Seattle Avionics FlyQ pushed ahead with a suite of upgrades that the company's been working on for more than a year.
Well, in version 4, we put a lot of effort into doing post-flight analysis. We announced this in November. It took us quite a while we perfected it and just shipped it now. There are really 4 parts to post-flight analysis, too. One is a very comprehensive visual logbook. One is visual analysis, which means 2 and 3D playback and all kinds of graphs. Number 3, it means a connected network to tie you with your friends, with your club members, with your CFI and students, that kind of thing. And a lot of features also specific, because of that, for CFIs and students to work together.
FlyQ is available in the Apple App Store. Subscriptions start at just under $70. And Garmin announced updates to its pilot app and online web flight planning site. Flightplan.com is now integrated into Pilot with APAS and pre-departure clearances. The pilot app includes Jeppson VFR navigation data, including airport traffic patterns and airport entry routing lines. Garmin says they've also improved IFR auto routing.
Okay, now this is something you don't want to see on your wingtip, but you will if you blunder into a presidential TFR. Last weekend, 3 pilots got a close-up view of NORAD aircraft after they wandered into the TFR over President Trump's New Jersey golf course. None of the pilots were talking to ATC, but hey, they'll probably be talking to the FAA and maybe even the Secret Service. And the president will be back at his Bedminster resort again starting Thursday, August 8th for about 2 weeks. So please pay attention, check NOTAMs. We may have said that before. The FAA has a website, pilotweb.nas.faa.gov, that makes NOTAM search relatively easy. Also ask for flight following, and of course, if you're an AOPA member, you can get an email alert of TFRs in the area automatically sent to you. But remember, it's your responsibility as pilot in command to do proper pre-flight planning and get a briefing, including NOTAMs, just before you take off. So this is, ongoing issue here.
It is. I know it's a vex to a lot of our members. We haven't been idle though. We've actually, but it isn't. It's a big struggle because Secret Service is really tough to get them to bend on this stuff. But we did get legislation passed that requires the FAA to look at possibly implementing egress and access to these airports, much like we have with the Maryland 3 in DC, where you get a PIN, you're vetted, but you can have access. We also got legislation passed that earmarked $3.5 million of relief for the airports that are the airport businesses that are impacted by these shutdowns. So that's something, at least for the businesses, and they're applying for that money right now. So we'll keep working it.
Okay.
Turns out what we want is what the feds want. Well, sort of. Buckle up, this is a lot to digest. So AOPA petitioned the FAA to expand a pilot's ability to use certain ADS-B out equipment in anonymous mode. The FAA responded and said what we want is what they actually intended for the rule all along. In November of 2018, we asked that pilots flying with a 978 megahertz UAT system be allowed to fly in anonymous mode when they filed a VFR flight plan, are not requesting ATC services, and the flight is outside of rule airspace. This came about because a line in the AIM says that in a UAT's anonymous mode can only be used when the operator has not filed a flight plan and is not requesting ATC services, thus excluding aircraft on VFR flight plans. Okay, so the FAA's response said that a pilot flying VFR may file a VFR flight plan to obtain search and rescue protection. When a pilot files a VFR flight plan, he or she does not receive ATC services unless he or she requests flight following. Therefore, a pilot conducting a VFR operation may file a VFR flight plan without requesting ATC services. It appears that the FAA intended to allow persons conducting VFR operations, including those on a VFR flight plan, to be able to use the anonymous mode so long as they don't request ATC services like flight following. Confused? You can read the details once again on our website.
Well done. AOPA has made several changes to its airport directory to accommodate fees and other charges pilots might incur at different FBOs so pilots can know before they go. AOPA Live's Jennifer Nahn spoke with pilots at AirVenture about our work to improve transparency and how all these updates to AOPA's airport directory will come in handy.
Pilots from across the country come to AirVenture each year to enjoy the best things about general aviation. We took some time to talk to these pilots about their experiences at different FBOs and what the expectation is for transparency and knowing fees before they got to their location. We had a chance to hear about the good, the bad, and the ugly.
It should be fair, and it should match what the apps are showing.
I think it's very important that the FBOs look at it from a marketing standpoint as to their transparency. The more transparent they are, the more likely we are to come there again and again. It's a shocker when you go to some of these places and you leave there with this disappointment and then you choose not to go.
But we just had an experience recently going to Springfield, Illinois, the capital of Illinois, and a friend went in his Malibu Mirage, and I took the Mustang in. And we spent 3 hours there touring their museum, which is fabulous, and came back to the airport and they set up no fees. And as we're walking out the airplane, a line tech came up to me and said, "Sir, she made a mistake. You have a fee." I said, "Oh, really?" I was kind of pleased there was no fees. It was a $125 fee for parking there for 3 hours. And I thought that was excessive.
We have an interesting case at our airport. We need transparency to know fuel prices before we get to the airport. And we have a single FBO at one particular airport. And we'd like to get competition because the fuel prices right now are at least $1 a gallon more than an airport that's 30 miles away. And so having that competition would help the GA pilots come to this airport, because right now the airport is going backwards in time, and not when other airports around us are growing at 20-25% annually, we are actually staying stagnant or going down.
We had a really good experience at an FBO in Gary, Indiana, B. Coleman Aviation. We were on our way to Oshkosh, and weather forced us down to that airport. It was the nearest airport. We were low on fuel, and we really liked the fact that they were transparent, had fair prices. They really rolled out the red carpet literally for us, put our aircraft in the hangar while the weather rolled through, and just amazing customer service.
You can access the AOPA Airport Directory under the Pilot Resources tab at aopa.org or through the AOPA app. There you'll find more detailed fee information than ever published before, and you can also find the specific fees that apply to the type of aircraft you fly. For AOPA Live, I'm Jennifer Nahn.
AOPA has begun an industry-wide outreach campaign to FBOs across the country. We're encouraging them to post their fees on AOPA's directory to help pilots decide where they want to land and helping them know what to expect before they get there. We've made changes to the directory to make it really easy for FBO managers to update their fees, and pilots can share their FBO experiences as well, giving fellow pilots a better idea of what to expect before they land. So we've seen FBOs, across the spectrum. Some of them doing a great job. They've come to our airport directory. They put in their fees. Others are kind of dragging their feet, not quite as transparent, and that's kind of frustrating.
It is frustrating, but this is where our members can actually become advocates. Go to your FBO, ask them if they're transparent, or go to our directory and find out if they are, and advocate for them to become transparent if they're not, or give them a kudos if they are.
Yeah, that's a great opportunity. It makes it really easy on the directory too. When we come back, your chance to get a special deal on the Freedom to Fly book.
And one more for old time's sake, the war hero back at the controls. We'll be right back.
Purchasing your own aircraft is an exciting experience. AOPA Finance simplifies the process, saving you money with lower interest rates and hassle-free loans, so you get into your new aircraft sooner. AOPA Finance, the right approach to buying an aircraft.
Welcome back. Friday is National Book Lovers Day. What does that have to do with general aviation? Well, glad you asked. In honor of the day, the AOPA Pilot Gear Store is giving a special discount on the Freedom to Fly book. The beautiful publication is full of the history of GA and AOPA. Stunning photographs from our own staff tell the story of 8 decades of your association. It's a great gift and will look really good on your coffee table. This weekend only, get your copy for $24.95. Usually sells for $39. It's a great way to scratch the aviation itch on National Book Lovers Day.
And our anniversary book is filled with images of classic airplanes. And now one classic is being honored as the state airplane. Delaware has selected the Belanca Cruise Air as the state's official historic aircraft. Belancas were built in a factory in Newcastle, Delaware. Established in 1928, the factory cranked out Giuseppe Belanca's designs for some 26 years, and you can see many of those sleek aircraft in the Belanca Airfield Museum in Newcastle. After a tumultuous week on Wall Street, how would you like a way to double your investment? We're in the last month of the You Can Fly Challenge, and there's a $2 million challenge grant on the line from the James C. Ray Foundation. Every dollar contributed to the challenge through August 31st will be matched dollar for dollar. It could add up to a total of $4 million to help build a stronger pilot community. You Can Fly Director Elizabeth Tennyson says the clock is ticking.
We are really coming down to the wire with this challenge, but it's an incredible opportunity. Anybody who makes a donation to the AOPA Foundation Challenge right now, between now and August 31st, will have their impact doubled because the Ray Foundation is matching their gifts dollar for dollar. And that gets more people flying and keeps them flying.
Remember, you have to earmark your gift for the challenge for it to count. For more information or to donate, go to aopafoundation.org/challenge.
There's a chance for you to get an awesome keepsake and help a good cause at the same time. A group of social media star pilots have each signed a series of posters, and they're up for auction. There are 4 total. 2 will benefit the Herschel Woody Williams Medal of Honor Foundation. The other 2 will benefit Natalie Kelly's Fly Girl Foundation that provides flight training scholarships for young women. 19 pilots who have a total reach of more than 1.5 million followers have signed the posters. You can find them on eBay starting August 9th. And finally, if you make it to 97 years old, how would you like to spend your birthday? Odds are you want to fly an airplane if possible. AOPA Live's Paul Harrop has the story of one pilot who is the last of his kind getting his birthday wish.
Yeah, once or twice.
There's Spry, and then there's Dave Hamilton.
I have 2,000 hours plus in C-47 type airplane.
To say he's larger than life would be an understatement because he's lived more vividly than most can imagine.
D-Day, I remember absolutely everything microscopically about D-Day. Yeah, that was one, my first mission, and 2, because it was my first mission and being a Pathfinder, we started briefing for D-Day on the 28th of May.
First Pathfinder ship is airborne at 2154.
Pathfinders were the advance wave ahead of the invasion. Lieutenant Colonel David Hamilton is the last of them. And on his 97th birthday, he's back around the machines and the crews so familiar.
Today is our open hangar day here at the World War II Airborne Demonstration Team. He's here today actually to fly RC-47 named Boogie Baby.
Frederick, Oklahoma, 1944. Or so it seems. Rifles on racks, trucks on the grass, round chutes coming down. And a C-47. The team keeps the history of the airborne alive and true to life. For team member Kat Healy, today is a special continuation of the D-Day anniversary in June.
In Duxford, England, I gave my Pathfinder coin to Kat. And she said, I'm going to drop this when I drop into Normandy.
I jumped his coin over in England into France. And today I jumped it once again on his 97th birthday here in Oklahoma.
And today he gets it back, along with a seat on the flight deck of a C-47.
And if you haven't been in one for a long time, you get in one and it takes you about 10 seconds. And then all of a sudden you're right at home. And it didn't take me long to get very comfortable.
Comfortable, flying a machine he knows well. But for this literal war hero who's seen nearly a century, he's impressed by smaller feats.
The fact that I woke up at my 97th birthday wasn't bad. That's pretty good too.
And for such a storied life, he's still truly living.
I said to the co-pilot as I was leaving, I said, if you get sick anytime, call me.
Paul Harrop, AOPA Live.
Oh my, what a character. You should have seen him at Duxford. He was surrounded by people, signing books and autographs and girls hanging all over him. It was really funny. He's such a
good for
neat
him.
guy.
He seems like he has a real zest for life.
He absolutely does. And this isn't the only special birthday for Hamilton. Turns out he soloed on his birthday in 1942. So, boy, what a history.
That's amazing.
Well, that's our program for this week. Thanks for being a part of it. If you're joining us on YouTube, please do like and subscribe.
And if you want to let us know what you think, either leave a comment below or drop us a line. AOPA Live at AOPA.org is the address. See you next week.